Ronny Banda. We welcome you to another episode of the Dance of Thoughts Chamber. The Dance of Thoughts Chamber is a group which deals about socio-economic and socio-economic development. What we do in this group, we encourage young people to be able to continue in the course of action without the regard to discouragement, opposition, or previous failure. And we further give back to innovative ideas, strategic plans, and remarkable intellectual engagement. The topic today it says that what it means to be a leader in the 21st century. With me, I have guest members of the Dance of Thoughts Chamber in different faculties who are going to debate this issue. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Thank you, Ronny. My name is Penkosi Twenza. I'm the MD of the company. It's a small company, actually.
Yes, sir.
It's a PZG Gigabyte.
That's the name of the company.
I'm a good member of Dance of Thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Since last year.
Yes, sir.
Here in this institution, I'm doing a BCom management.
Management.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Banda. To do my name and surname respectively, a final year student in Department of Sociology and the Faculty of Arts within the University of Zululand, an aspiring politician and social scientist who is very interested in reading.
Wow.
Because Thabo Mbeki was very clear when he says readers are leaders.
Yes,
You
sir.
stop reading, you stop leading.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. That's so diplomatic with you, Honorable. Let's start with you, Mr. Twenza. Our question to you today is, what is your understanding of the Dance of Thoughts Chamber? What is this Dance of Thoughts Chamber that you are talking about?
Thank you, Ron. Now, the Dance of Thoughts Chamber, this is an organization for students which serves to be an effective instrument of liberation in the hands of the youth,
Yes, sir.
not only in this institution, even outside. Now, the Dance of Thoughts has incorporated even us who have small businesses. Now, it means that Dance of Thoughts now serves to instill that culture of entrepreneurs in the youth of today, so that we are not going to focus only academic and social development. If we talk about social development,
Yes, sir.
it means we are developing the youth in this institution and outside. Remember, in my introduction, I said I'm owning a PZG Gigabyte,
Yes.
which is a small company, of course.
A registered one.
Registered one.
Wow.
Last year, if you remember, there was a program that we initiated,
Yes, sir.
which was based on inviting the outside schools, the grade 12, were here in this institution to be introduced in computer course. So now we were closing the gap between IT and life.
That's very diplomatic. Very good. Yes. Now, you're saying you are owning a business. What kind of a business is that?
PZG Gigabyte is a company which deals with computers. We are servicing computers. We are also doing workshops. Mostly we are dealing with schools. Even in this institution, we have done some workshops, and we are going to continue to do so to make sure that the youth learn something, and those who aspire to be businesses, to be entrepreneurs, will learn from us.
Honorable, I'm a young person at home. I want to start my own business.
Yes.
What are the challenges which I may face, and how should I go about in accomplishing this mission?
The fundamental challenge
Yes.
that we normally face is the capital. And you will remember that the capital is the money to start a business. During this era, we have NYDA organizations which are there to support the youth of South Africa,
Yes, sir.
to start their businesses, to give them even bursaries, those who aspire to be professions in a different fields in South Africa. So we can also approach NYDA, we can also approach SIDA for that challenge, which is the capital.
Yes, sir.
So there are so many routes one can take in order to become an entrepreneur. But you must have a vision, you must have a mission, and make sure that you stand by your your mission and your vision based on the type of the
commitment and dedication.
On what we want to.
That's the long and short part of it. Honorable Nai, the topic today it says what it means to be a leader in the 21st century. How can you define that?
Thank you very much, Mr. Banda. The good thing about being a sociologist is that whenever you attend any problem, you apply theory.
Yes, sir.
Because theories help us as they were initiated prior so that they can guide us in ensuring that we get solutions for today.
Yes, sir.
But then again, leadership is a broad concept which is defined differently. You have your own definition of a leader, particularly for this century where we are today. I have my own.
Yes.
Hence, I take or I borrow from some of the theories where they classify the leadership of this 21st century or the leadership that is required for this century as the servant leadership. They further divided the servant leadership with two broad characteristics, of which is the philosophical leadership and also the leadership in practice. Then the question that you may ask again is, what is philosophical leadership? What exactly speak about when we say philosophical leadership? Philosophical leadership is where we speak about the organizational theory of the organization, the vision of the organization, the mission of the organization, objectives, and all other theoretical parts of the organization that need to be fulfilled through the leadership in practice. That is the philosophical leadership which a leader of this century must also have. But again, theory on its own is not enough. That is why Lenin, when he speaks about Marxism, he makes it very clear that Marxism needs to be used as a tool of analysis, but also in practice. Because the practice without analyzing is null, and analyzing without practice is also null. So these two broad concepts need to be used interchangeably and also need to be used interconnectedly. Leadership in practice, it's where we draft our own program of action and implement it. Mind you that the program of action that needs to be drafted is the program of action that must respond to the challenges of your constituents in ensuring that you apply and fulfill the organizational theory that is developed through the philosophical leadership. So you will hear today, so many people are in media, front pages of newspapers, claiming that they are leaders of this 21st century, claiming that they are economic freedom fighters because they are so obsessed of the media without philosophical leadership character, because it is what is important in today's leadership. Again, Mr. Banda, as we are human beings, we grew up in different backgrounds. We have this thing called the moral behavior, ethics, and so on and so forth. But then the difference from that is that leadership must be guided. There must be principles and policies that will be applied so that you can be molded and resemble the culture and the character of the organization that you are leading. If you are South African, you can see Nelson Mandela today. Nelson Mandela is a peacemaker, not only in South Africa, but across the globe. That is the character of Nelson Mandela. What you see in Nelson Mandela is what the entire globe is seeing when they speak about South Africa. So the leader of the 21st century that we need is the leader that will portray or that will be a mirror of the constituency that that particular leader is leading.
Yes, Honorable. Sorry to cut you there. Now, you speak of, earlier on the show, you speak of Bailey. You were quoting Bailey when he said that a good leader is who reads. In other words, when you read, so you think, or when you read, you become. Now, if we should take the liberty to borrow the words of prudence from one of our presidents, we're talking of Muhammad Makandi, when he said the best way to find yourself is by losing yourself in the service of others. What did you take there?
Thank you very much, Mr. Banda. I like this quote of a leader, that a leader or a human being, the real human being, must be like a candle, because a candle consumes itself in order to give light to the people. we must use whatever we have so that a person next to you can be assisted. Not that if you are a leader, you are going to do miracles and do some wonders. No, it starts with you. We as Africans, we normally say charity begins at home. I start by assisting somebody who is next to me, somebody who is my family member, somebody who is within my group as an academic, somebody who is within the institution. Then I go like that and so on and so forth. So that's what Mahatma Gandhi meant when he speaks about that those who are in power, they tend to oppress those who are not in power. Those who are in power or not in power must use whatever they have so that they can assist the rest of the population. And if you can really and practically ask yourself about what is happening today, you can be amazed. Because what is happening today, people who are in leadership, they tend to be greedy and egocentric. They tend to engulf whatever so that they can keep it in their pocket without looking at what is happening in the nation.
Yes, sir.
The ANC-led government is starting to identify corruption. The minute you attend corruption, which means there is money that is going to be wasted in attending that corruption because of people who are egocentric, who are jealous and selfish without thinking for the entire nation. We agree and then concur that there are imbalances that were created by the government of the past. We agree that we are the marginalized group. But whatever little that we have, we must distribute it to the rest of our people.
I get you. Meaning a single bracelet cannot change it. No one can be successful alone. No one can succeed alone. Honorable, there's an item that says you have to remove the hand of the monkey from the soup pot before the hand of the monkey turns into a human hand. Now, in a book written by D.H. Lawrence in 1881, he tells us in some of his paragraphs that difficulties and iniquities does not constitute impossibility. If someone today is willing to be a leader, what is your advice to that particular individual? What must be his character towards people, towards anything, towards the economy? What must be the approach towards creating a new dawn?
Before I go to 1881, I think 1881 is
too far.
Let's start in 1818, where Karl Marx was born.
Yes, sir.
And his Marxism theory.
Yes.
Karl Marx spoke about his idea of governing the society or the entire country. He speaks about in some of his theories that the manner in which the resources must be distributed, that each according to his own need. And Herbert Spencer argues with Karl Marx that it mustn't be that in Herbert Spencer's theory of survival of the fittest,
yes, sir,
that each according to his own ability. Then let's look at what Imad Dukim is saying. Imad Dukim says very clear that he defines the society as a human structure, that if the hand is injured, the entire human structure will not be able to function healthy and normally. Which means that in a society or as a leader, you need all stakeholders that formulate the body of your discipline, that formulate the body of your organization so that your organization can work smoothly. What does that mean in here in University of Zululand? Because what we think, when we think global, we must be able to localize our thinking and contextualize them to where we are as right now.
Yes, sir.
Because we are in University of Zululand.
Yes, sir.
If you are a leader here in University of Zululand, you need to consult, comprehend the challenges that are affecting your constituency. Who is your constituency then? Your constituents are students from different societies. Dense of thought is a society, recognized society, and also an NGO within the institution which functions not only within the ambit, but also goes externally. We have different societies, academic societies, religious societies, and political formation. So your role as a leader is to ensure that you unite all these societies and to give the leadership and political direction so that you can bring tolerance within the campus, peace and stability, and be able to in line with the core business of the institution, of which is teaching and learning, concurrently maintaining the vision of the university, producing the global competitive graduates.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Honorable. Now, if you have to turn back the hands of time or the hands of thought, if you go back to 1912, briefly, when they formed the NC Mangaunga, 8 January, he tells us that we should not be reluctant about everything. However, he advised us when they formed the NC that a leader who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain that leaves no cross. What is your take to a leader who oppresses the poor nowadays?
Thank you very much, Mr. Banda. I like Karl Marx.
You like Karl Marx?
Although I'm not an orthodox Marxist.
Yes, sir.
But I subscribe to the ideas of Karl Marx and Fred Lenin.
Yes.
They give us a background that the society is divided into two.
Yes, sir.
There is the working class society, which is us, the proletariat, and there is also the elite, or the capitalist class, or the bourgeoisie, those who own means of production.
Yes.
So what happens here is that there are people who are comrades of bourgeoisie, those who are co-opted by the capitalists so that they can continuously oppress those who are poor, like me and yourself and the rest. I'm not too sure whether Mr. Banda, you are poor, but
Yeah.
I'm poor.
Yes.
So what happens, those who are the working class, they will always have the working class power. They will always be found at a grassroots level. They will always bring havoc should it happen that they are oppressed. In so many government, in so many countries, we have witnessed people overthrowing one government now and again. We have witnessed it in Venezuela. We have witnessed it in China in 1960, where Chairman Mao took in China and became the president under the socialist movement in 1960. And he further changed the name of China to be the Republic of China.
Yes,
they overthrown the government that was from elites or that was bourgeoisie by the time. Simply because the very same government that was contained of capitalist class was oppressing the poor. When you oppress the poor, you are bringing havoc within the country. You witness me when Inamo speaks about social engineering. He speaks about two things, three things. It's one, the colonialism from 1650 to 1949. Then from 1949 to 1991, he speaks about apartheid regime. From 1991, particularly 1994, up until today, he speaks about the democratization. Then when you analyze all this series of government, you can see that we started as South Africans to overthrow each and every government since 1650 up until 1994, where we last overthrown apartheid, not for any reason, but because they were oppressing us, who are the working class.
The working class, of course.
Yes.
Let's go to Mr. Koz. Mr. Koz, you were saying you're doing become management. Am I wrong? Yes. Now, there's a person at home right now who's willing to become management. What it takes to do that course?
Thank you. The become management degree is a very vital degree, especially to us who aspire to be entrepreneurs. It's a pity, Ronny, that in our days, our country has been invaded by autocratic leaders. I spoke about leaders. Engage to the leadership concept robustly. It's a pity that we are deprived of opportunities, because in order to be a student, you must apply and you must have money. So the most of our youth, we are coming from a poorly stricken background, and that way we are deprived the opportunity to enroll to tertiary institutions, just because not necessarily because we are from the oppression, from the apartheid regime, because now we are free. And this organization, which is the Dance of the Chamber, we are fighting for the freedom of free education and quality education. That is our cause here. So It's a pity, really. It's a pity that in nowadays we have these kinds of leaders who are supposed to disseminate this information to us, that it should be easy, in fact, to become a student. However, people must apply for this course. It is very difficult nowadays to find jobs. Even if you are a graduate, it is very difficult. The statistics say more than 50% of graduates are sitting at home with no jobs. That is the reason why we are encouraging youth to look or focus into creating their own business.
Yes, I like that. Rather than say we are waiting for the government.
To provide us jobs,
yes.
Go to the institution to look for certain professions whereby after completion of that course, then I will look for.
In other words, we're not in a university just to learn.
Yes,
but we are here to learn how to create job opportunities. When Mr. Nai spoke earlier on, he reminded me of Mark Zuckerberg in 2009 when they launched Facebook. He says that born poor is never a mistake, but to die poor is a mistake. It's a mistake. Honorable, we are on the side of sociology. What is a sociology, in fact, if I may ask?
A sociologist is a person.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because there is IST.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's a person. But maybe before I even address the one of sociology, let me echo what Tila has just said.
Yes, sir.
Our education system is structured in an ambiguous way. We even us as sociologists, we don't understand it. If you read about education development will tell you about three approaches or three theories that are found in education. One is a neoclassic theory, which was used earlier in USA.
That's why it's called Neo.
Neo. Yes, that is why it's called Neo.
Yes.
It was used earlier in USA, and somehow it is applied here in South Africa.
Yes, sir.
The second one is a reformist theory. The reformist theory is the one that is also applied here in South Africa. When we are hearing that there is a scarcity of teachers, you'll hear that government is now producing or issuing out bursaries on education.
Yes, sir.
That one is only different from transformation because it's a reformist. Reformist or reformation or reform. The difference between reform and transformation is that reformation is a change that does not cater the collective, but the change that only caters for the few. Then transformation is a drastic change. It's a radical change that caters the collective or everyone in that society.
Yes, sir.
Then the third one is the radical theory, the one that was used when China assumed its democratic power in 1960. It's the one that is used in Venezuela. It's the one that is used in all countries that are located geographically in Asia. Because that education system is the one that does not only teaches us to close our chances so that we can get jobs, but it's the one that teaches us to create jobs.
At the same time.
It's not the one that teaches us to be managers, but it's the one that teaches us how to mine the mineral resources that we have. It's the one that we need.
Yes, sir.
It's the one that we need before we even jump to nationalization of money. We must get that formal and informal education that will prepare us for the economic emancipation that we want. But illiterate people, you will hear them making halabaloo all over the way, saying nationalization of mine, nationalization. You can't nationalize mine without having the proper knowledge and information on how to mine the very same mine that you claim or you say they must nationalize. However, your question was in the sociology.
Yes.
Sociology basically, it is a study that teaches us how to analyze the society and the human interaction. You see right now as we are all sitting here,
yes, sir.
Now, I'm analyzing the very same society because society is not a community, but community is a form of a society. Society is everything except myself. I'm not a society alone. But whatever you see in the world or in the planet Earth, it's the society. So my duty as an aspiring sociologist is to analyze and then look at the interaction of human species within the society. This is a very broad